Everybody. I hope everybody's having a good day today. So, for the past 3 or 4 years, I have been struggling and struggling and struggling to make this work. For the past 3 or 4 years, I have been trying to make the Echolink software for Windows talk to and with my ICOM IC9100. And for the life of me, I could not figure this out. And I put the project on hold, and I came back to it, maybe a year or two later, and I worked on it some more. I tried to figure it out, and I still kept running into a wall. What I couldn't figure out is I could not get RF audio coming that was being received by the radio to transmit over Echolink. Now, if somebody were coming in on Echolink and connecting to my Echolink link, it worked fine, but I could not get RF going from the radio to Echolink. Now, I eventually, about a year later, about a year and a half ago, I figured out how to get the audio from Echolink out on RF. And that was the extent, and that is where this project has sat, and I just could not figure out how to get the audio from the radio being received by RF over to Echolink and being transmitted over on Echolink for stations coming in on RF. Now, stations coming in on Echolink were going out on RF just fine. So for the life of me, I could not figure out what to do until today. Today, I have finally figured out what was going on, and I am going to show you what you need to do to get the Echolink software on Windows working with an ICOM IC9100. So with that, let's get started.
Okay, hello again, everybody, and I'm going to try to do this. I'm using my iPhone 10s Max here to do this, so I apologize if the camera is shaky, but we'll make do and we'll make this work. This won't be too terribly long here. So we'll get started with the radio side things first, what you need to do and what you need to set up. So as you can see here, oops, if I'm pointing, I've got here a simplex frequency. So this is the frequency I'm going to be using for the Echolink test here that we're going to do to make this work. So I've already picked my frequency. It's clear. No one's using it. So we'll go ahead and get started here, what you need to do. The first thing you need to do is you need to put your radio into digital mode, FM digital. So right up here where my finger is, there will be a D icon, and we need that. So to get into that mode, you need to hold down the FM AM button until you see the D, and if you look in the far upper left corner, you'll see it appear. So I'm going to do that now. Press and hold. There it is. Now we have the D icon there. And what that does is that puts the ICOM, this radio, the ICOM IC9100, that puts the modulation out on the USB port on the back of the radio here. And to make sure that's set up correctly here, you're going to go to Menu. You're going to press and hold the Menu button right here. So I'm going to do that. And as you can see here, let me get to it here. Right here. Data modulation, USB, that is menu item number 59. So that's what you need to do. Once you have menu item 59 set for USB, then you can put your radio in the digital data mode there. So that's item number 1. Item number 2, that you need to concern yourself with. Well, here, I'll just show you. So I have CIV transceive on. The CIV address, don't need to worry about that for this. Baud rate, I just leave it on auto. We already covered that. For off mod, when data is turned off, I've got it set for the microphone or the accessory jack for that. Let's see here. For the USB modulation level, I use 35%, and that seems to work well. Now, I use that figure for modes such as FT8, WinLink, like RDOP on HF, or VARA, packet, VHF, UHF packet. I find 35% to be the sweet spot, but depending on your setup, you may need to experiment with this number and tweak it a little bit, but I find 35% to be adequate. Moving on. This right here was the issue I was having. Lo and behold, item number 55. By default, it is set to off open. That is default. Now, what that does is, in its off open mode, if you are listening to the radio remotely over USB, so for example, if you're listening to your radio through Skype, if you're doing remote operation, and you're not transmitting and you're listening to a repeater, you just hear the squelch wide open. So all you hear is this static. Well, come to find out, I wish I would have known about this setting, because now when I turn this on, that eliminates the squelch. That closes the squelch. So then if I'm listening to a repeater, I don't hear constant static all the time, which is great. Instead, now that with this turned on, now the squelch here, right here, this the outer knob here is now controlled. So if using Ham Radio Deluxe, if I were to adjust this and open it up just like that, then I would hear the static with open squelch on Skype. But with it off right now it's silent, and this is what hung me up for 3 or 4 years. I could not figure out how to stop the open squelch coming over the USB port. So make sure that item number 55, USB audio squelch, is on. Make sure that is on. And I will point out here in a little bit why that needs to be turned on. But in the meantime, we will jump back to the computer, and I apologize for the real shaky camera work here, but we'll move on here and switch over to the computer and to the Echolink software running on Windows.
Okay, so now we're on Windows here, and let me show you what you need to do on the Windows side of things. Now, couple things that you're going to need some prerequisites. First, you're going to need a program called CAT 7200. I've referenced this program before in my vlogs for Packet. Sorry about that. I couldn't remember what it was. For WinLink, operating WinLink on Packet, as well as BBS, bulletin board systems. So with this CAT 7200 program, this allows you to control push-to-talk from a USB connection. So you will need this program along with a virtual serial port. So I'm not going to walk through all the steps here, how to set up virtual serial ports. I will leave you to YouTube for that. I can reference some videos. I can put a link in the description below for references, as well as a link where you can download the CAT 7200 program. But I will just open up Chrome here and I'll show you where you need to go. So let me just do that real quick so you can see what the website looks like. So this is the website for the CAT 7200 program. This is meant for the ICOM 7200, IC 7200, but this works for the 9100. I think it works for the 7000, the 7100, I believe. This might even work with the 7300. I don't know, but it works with the 9100, so you will need this. And they have the installation instructions here, and I believe there is a way here. This person links how to set up virtual serial ports and all that. So this program is very useful. The next program that you're going to need is the Echolink software. So you can visit echolink.org, come over to download, and they have finally, after 14 years of inactivity, have released a new version of WinLink for Windows. It came out, looks like about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. So go ahead and download this latest program here, the latest version of Echolink. Again, I'm not going to walk through how to install these programs, but again, I will leave links in the descriptions for tutorials and how to set this stuff up. And we'll go from there. So moving on. So now that you have Echolink and CAT 7200 up and running, we'll go ahead and fire up the CAT 7200 program here. So as you can see, here it is. The CAT port, this is for my radio. This is the CIV address, baud rate, and the COM port for the radio. And I'm sending this COM port for push to talk over here to COM 3. Ignore COM 4. I'm utilizing that for a different project. So I'm sending it over to COM 3. So what you want to do is then open the ports. So we'll go ahead and open the ports, and we will fire up Echolink real quick. And actually, before I do, I'm going to take a pause in the video here to put WinLink back into its default mode, and we will reconvene here in just a moment. Okay, we're ready to go here. So we'll go ahead and get started. So we are in the Echolink software now, as you can see here. And we'll go ahead and get started. Let me just make sure. Okay, good. We'll go ahead and get started here, what you need to do. So we're not going to walk through the process of validating your call sign on WinLink and all that, but what you'll need to do is after you download this program, you'll need to validate your call sign with the Echolink people. That requires sending a PDF of your FCC amateur radio license over to them, and they will validate you into the Echolink system, and you can then get started with this. You'll also need to validate your call sign as a link or a repeater, depending on what you're going to do. And there's instructions on how to do that. That goes beyond the scope of this video, but you will need to do some prep work here. I am logged in as my own station here. This is end user, so there's nothing fancy going on here at all. This is just straight up if I wanted to connect to a node or whatever, this is where I would need to go. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and log in as a sysop here. So to do that, we're going to go to Tools. We're going to go to Setup. And we're going to change call sign. Yes. And under call sign here, I'm going to put -L. That establishes my call sign as a link. And I'm going to change over to sysop. And I'm going to hit OK. And this is going to cause WinLink to reconnect and reconfigure itself. And there it is. So now we're up and running here. And I'm signed in here as my link. Now, this gives us access to a new menu. Here's what you do. Remember, this is for the ICOM IC9100. We're going to go to Tools. We're going to go to sysop settings. And here's what you need to do. Your values over here should be the same. I haven't experienced any issues with this. For carrier detect, you're going to want Vox. And you don't have to enable the squelch crash anti-trip. You can experience or experiment with this if you would like and go from there. But make sure that your settings are very similar to what I have here. Again, you can play with these a little bit if you're getting tail squelch crashes and things like that. You can experiment with these values here a little bit. But I find the values here are satisfactory to my needs. And again, the crucial thing with this screen is Vox. Make sure you're on Vox. Now, that's for RX control. For TX control, you're going to want to use RTS, request to send. You're going to need to select this. And for the serial port, you're going to have to select your virtual COM port that you've made further back, which is where this program comes into handy here. Comes in handy. So in this case, I have it going to COM3. So this screen here is set for COM3. Now it's cut off. I don't know why. So you'll need to experiment and find the right device here. And as you can see, I got a few devices in here. So it took me some trial and error to figure out where I needed to go. And key PTT on local transmit, I have checked. And that's what makes it work. All this other stuff you can leave as default for now. But definitely for identifying, you definitely want to make sure that either a Morse identifier or spoken voice is correct and make sure it's got your call sign in there. And actually what I should do here is probably put, I don't know if this will work or not, but we'll give it a shot here. You can also record your own audio file if you wish. And just make sure that you're IDing every 10 minutes and so to comply with the FCC rules of identification. So this screen is important. For options, you can leave everything alone here. Play courtesy tone, yes, you definitely need to, it helps having the courtesy tone. It just helps people know that are listening on RF that somebody is done transmitting on Echolink, so that is helpful. Signals, REM and RF info, you can not worry about this stuff for right now as you're getting set up. So feel free to mess around with all this stuff as you will. And we're just going to hit OK. We hit OK, and it's going to take a sec for it to catch up. Next thing we need to do is we need to revisit Tools, and we need to go to Setup. And for audio, make sure you have your input and output device set for the radio, the radio's USB port. So in this case, I got my 9100 there for the input and output device. And I use the 300 hertz transmit high filter pass. That seems to help. And that is all you really need to do on this screen. And I'm just going to hit OK. Now, one other thing that you're going to need to do is you're going to need to visit Control Panel. So I'm going to just type in Control Panel here. And we're going to go to Sound. And we're going to go to recording. And we're going to double click on my radio. And we're going to go to levels. Now, you're going to want to increase this. Now, for like digital data modes such as multi-PSK, for bulletin board stuff, or FT8 on HF, I keep a very low volume. But for Echolink, you're going to want to bring the volume up. And for my tests, I found 60% to be adequate. So you will need to experiment with your recording levels for the radio, but I found 60% to be adequate, and I think that's percentage. Yes, it is. So you can right-click on the box here and change the level to percent, or I'm sorry, the output to percent, and that will really help. So I found 60% to be adequate for this, and I'm just going to hit OK, OK, and we'll close out of this, and I'll just close out of this window too. So there we go. And with that, we should be good to go. So what I'm going to do here, the drawback to this setup here, real quick before I forget, is you cannot use your 9100 to transmit. So if I were to key up right now, KE8BSM testing 1 2 3 and clear. So I just went out there, and the thing is, since I'm in digital data mode, the microphone is disabled on the ICOM radio because I'm using the digital mode there on the radio, and you're seeing my station identify there. That's what you saw there, and my radio keyed up and put that out there. So what I'll do here to show how this works is I will fire up a couple things here. I got an HT with me. My antenna is only about maybe 40 feet away, so this is no problem. I got my HT on low power here. So I'll fire up my HT, and let me get it over to the simplex frequency I'm on. Here we go. Yep, and you could KE8BSM testing 1 2 3. Okay, so you can see I'm transmitting on my HT there, and coming out, you can hear it on the ICOM, and you could see the audio meter there in the Echolink program. Not key up and talk. Now I will grab my phone here and I will log into my node. So let me do that real quick. Let me get into Echolink. Logging in. Okay, and let me connect to my node here. Okay, now, in just a minute here on the HT, we should hear my phone connect to Echolink here, and that should go out on RF, and you should hear the output coming from my HT as my ICOM will be transmitting my call sign coming in here. So let's connect and see what happens. Here we go.
KE8BSM link connected. KE8BSM.
Okay. So there you go. I'm connected, and you heard that on my HT there. So now I'll transmit on Echolink, and you should hear me come out on the HT here. So I'm going to transmit on my phone through Echolink to my Echolink node from my telephone connection here, and we'll go from there. So let's see if this works. This is KE8BSM testing 1 2 3. 1 2 3. And clear.
And clear.
Okay, you heard that beep. That's the courtesy tone, and that worked out perfect. And my radio keyed up, and as you can hear on the HT, that worked fine. Now I'll transmit from my HT, and you should hear me on my phone. And let me turn up the volume here on my microphone so you can hear this. I'll hold the my phone up to the microphone here by the computer, and I'm going to transmit real quick, and I apologize for any feedback, but let's give this a shot, see if it works. This is KE8BSM testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, and you heard that little beep to indicate on my phone to indicate that I was done transmitting. KE8BSM clear. Okay, and there you have it. There is Echolink, the Echolink Windows software going through and fully functioning with an ICOM IC9100. And to go back to what I was talking about earlier when I talked about menu item 55 on the radio, the USB squelch level. Let me make sure I have that right. Yes, USB audio squelch, and turning that on. If I turn that off, I'll show you what happens. This is with it off. See? It's off. And this is all that you would hear. And when somebody like were to key up, so keyed up here, this is KE8BSM testing. The problem is, on Echolink, I can't transmit because it's just an open squelch. That was the problem I was having. So now it's on. Menu item 55, USB audio squelch is now turned on, and it goes away. And I can transmit on Echolink, and it works perfectly. So that is why menu item 55 on your ICOM IC9100 having USB audio squelch turned on is important, and that was where I was getting hung up. Item menu 55 is what hung me up for 3 or 4 years. So with that, I hope this video was helpful. Please give it a thumbs up if you like it. I'm trying to improve my my video techniques. Try not to say so many times, and I do apologize about that. I know I've been getting some constructive feedback and criticism about that, and that is totally fine. I am trying to hone my skill a little bit better. I am not a professional YouTuber by any means, but either way, I hope this video was helpful. Hopefully you guys out there with 9100s who have been struggling to make Echolink, the Windows software, work on Echolink, hopefully you can rest easy now and get your station up and running with Echolink. And like I said, the only drawback is when you're doing this, you cannot use your 9100. The microphone does not work. So with that, I hope this video is helpful to you. Feel free to leave a comment down below, and links in the description will be made available for the various softwares that have been mentioned here. Have a great day, everybody. 7-3.